All right. Well, hello again to everyone. And it is my pleasure and honor, as always, to be here with Cristina Moreira. I'm so excited to talk with you again today and hear more. I always feel like at the end of our conversations, I just want to ask you more questions, but we're gonna dive in today. I'm excited to hear what you're feeling in your heart at this time. You know, it's the solstice is coming up, and um, always a lot of transmissions coming through. So how are you, Cristina?
Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for welcoming me. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you and be able to share. Yes. Well, we just come out of a Mercury retrograde phase into a new synodic cycle in Sagittarius, which calls for adventure and mind expansion. And this Gemini full moon was full power, also aligned with galactic center. So there's a lot of income light codes coming in for all of us, and there's this buzz in the air, like many things are happening, and it really feels like we're moving uh, into a new reality altogether. That's the feeling that's been over the air lately. So yes, so today that we're recording this, it's the 18th of December 2024. And in 3 days, we will have the solstice, the winter solstice in the North Hemisphere, and summer solstice in the South Hemisphere. And it's this really magical window of time that the sun is aligned with galactic center. And this is part of this rare time frame that only happens about every close to 26,000 years. And having the sun at the solstice aligned with galactic center, and the sun being this great transmitter of light and frequency and life force giving, it inundates us with these codes towards which our DNA is receptive. So, taking advantage of this in a conscious way and meditating on the new reality we want to co create together for the human family in this beautiful planet. And also the fact that it's the solstice, and solstice means the sun stands still. So, from our perspective, the sun reaches an extreme of its movement, and the hours of light have been diminishing since the equinox, that there was an equal balance, and 6 months ago the other seed point, that was the summer solstice. And coming around the solstice time, the sun stands still for 3 days. That's the meaning of solstice, at least from our perspective. The sun will be rising and setting exactly on the same spot. And then after that, slowly it starts moving again on the horizon, and the hours of light start increasing again. So the sun stands still for 3 days, aligned with galactic center. The source of creation for all life is such a magical time. Mercury starting to move forward in Sagittarius, aiming for our highest truth, and also mind setting for adventure and boldness, and creating a brave new world that is in resonance with our hearts, that are expanding and opening into this new reality that we're all co-creating together. So these are really exciting times. At the same time, lots of festivities and people coming together, and may all this gathering of families and dear ones around the world uh, contribute to uplift the collective. That's my prayer. for these times.
Mm.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you, Christina. It's like a prayer just to hear you speak, and the grounding, reminding of where we are and when we are. Um, do you have plans for the solstice?
Yes, I'm going together with my close community here up in the mountains of southwest Portugal. We're also helping my neighbors building their house. They're
Mm.
going to have a baby soon, and the community will gather to help and celebrate the solstice together. Also, with some music and, of course, connecting with all this incoming energy that is at our disposal around this time of the year.
Yeah, beautiful. Ah, great. Well, that sounds like the right thing to be doing, coming together and being mindful, intentional, and in ceremony together. So you mentioned Mercury is moving into this new cycle with Sagittarius, which really just makes me think about so much about your work with Egypt now, and uh, also Sagittarius being the traveler, the explorer, the adventurer. So does that lead us well into maybe you sharing a little bit more about your journey to Egypt and what's happening there with that right now?
Sure, sure. I'm very, very excited and happy and grateful to be able to take our group there. It's going to be an incredible experience. 2025 is coming in with a really, really new energy, with all the outer planets moving into new signs and creating harmonic geometries with each other. We're in for something really new, extreme novelty. And in order for our consciousness to expand into the future, it also expands backwards into the past. So reclaiming
Mm.
the truth of our history of human civilization on Earth. And really, there's, I mean, no place like Egypt to be there and be able to witness that incredible legacy from a very advanced civilization that, according to latest discoveries, should be really so much older than what conventional history and archaeology has been saying. And by relating to the archaeoastronomy, so the alignments of the pyramids at the Giza plateau and the Sphinx with the stars and the constellations, um, but also the marks of erosion that we find in some of the monuments, like the Sphinx, that reveal strong waterfalls. And according to geological studies, the last time it rained heavily in that area of the planet was about 12,000, 13,000 years ago at the Younger Dryas. So this really reveals that those monuments, that legacy that is there, it's so much older, and it's the reminiscence of a very, very developed civilization, most probably connected with Atlantis, with this wild world civilization, or let's call it the pyramids civilization, because we find pyramids all around the world. That succumbed to this great diluvian cataclysm that happened around 13,000 years ago. So, because of the sands of the desert, a lot has been preserved. And it really is such a blessing to go there and witness firsthand and feel what is there. And there's so much encoded in the alignments and in the geometries, in the angles. If we take just, for instance, just the Great Pyramids at Giza, that of course we'll be visiting, um, the alignments with the cardinal directions, the alignment with the Sphinx and the other pyramids, the relationship with the constellation of Orion, it is so magical. And there's this great revelation that has come up in recent years. It's not been spoken much, So, but when I got to know about it, I was really intrigued and in wonder and in awe. So it's been a common fact that at the Great Pyramids there were no writings or no hieroglyphs, no. It was just plain walls inside and out. And some years ago, Robert Grant, who's a, a famous polymath from the United States, he was there with a group and with his wife, and he had been there many times as well. And suddenly, he found on the sarcophagus in the king's chamber the symbol for of the Alpha and Omega, and no one had been able to see them before. And the Alpha and the Omega, it's like the beginning and the end. It's the feminine and the masculine. It's like the serpent of time eating its tail, the Ouroboros, a cycle that is completing and a new cycle that is being born. So he suddenly found that engraved, etched on the sarcophagus in the king's chamber. And then his wife found started to find the constellations of the zodiac engraved on the walls of the king's chamber, which until then no one had been able to see. So this is really like a mystery. It's like the veil is being lifted, and these revelations are happening because we are at the great turning of the ages. And in that confluence of so many ley lines, and then the conduits of energy that the pyramids are, it's just such a powerful experience to be able to be there and just open our minds into other realities and possibilities. And then with all the changing of planets into new signs, and Venus starting a new synodic cycle in Pisces, and very close to the zero Aries point, which is the Alpha Omega point, the beginning and the end, and Saturn and Neptune also crossing that Alpha Omega point between last degrees of Pisces and first degrees of Aries, makes it really meaningful and exciting to just go there and experience, because it all seems to point for 2025. Also, according to the Vedic texts and this great research by Bibhu Dev Misra, 2025 sees the end of the Kali Yuga, of the age of darkness that we've been navigating for the last, let's say, about 5,500 years. So just being there and receive all that energy that really is uplifting. It's such a blessing, and I'm so grateful to be able to take the group there. And it's not just the Giza Plateau. I mean, there are so many incredible temples that we will be visiting in Egypt. And I really like to go for the anomalies. And what I call the anomalies are the things that we see and science cannot explain. So, so we come up with questions, and we might not have all the answers, but if we start making the right questions, maybe we will start receiving the right answers. So another incredible place that we'll be visiting will be the Serapeum, which is in Saqqara, south of the Giza Plateau, close to Cairo. And the Serapeum is these mysterious underground tunnels that have different chambers offset with each other. And inside these galleries, and I'm talking about kilometers of galleries under the ground, and they look like they're excavated in a way that they look like underground tunnels. Like it's such a perfect work of engineering. And inside we find 24 sarcophagus made of black granite, which is one of the hardest stones in the world. And these sarcophagus, or these, let's call these boxes, they're huge. They weigh like tons and tons, like around 60, 70 tons each. Just the lid of one of them must weigh like 20 to 30 tons. They're really massive. And they're a mystery. No one knows what they're there for. And there are 24 inside. So they're
Mm.
really, really, really big. And they're so much larger than the actual entrance into the tunnel system. So no one knows how they got there because that stone is not local there. It's not locally found there. And then they have these really perfect 90-degree angles, like to perfection. They're carved to perfection. And um, they're so highly polished that we can actually see our reflection in the stones. So, what was the purpose of these mysterious boxes? And then to add into the mystery, many of them have like little scoops. It really gives this sensation that at some point there was this powerful energy source that kind of melted the stone. And then when it solidified, it had these scoops, a bit like a Swiss cheese. It's just incredible, incredible. And this is one of the places we'll be visiting. Also, the Djoser Pyramid in Saqqara. We'll also be going to Dashur, to the Bent Pyramid, which has incredible, incredible geometry. It has the pentagon and the hexagon built into its structure. It's an incredible work of art in terms of sacred geometry applied to architecture. And then we'll also be going to south of Egypt, to Abu Simbel, this beautiful, beautiful temple that is carved inside the mountain, and it's a monument to the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. And then in Aswan, we'll be staying at the Nubian village. We're going to be visiting the temple of Isis, of Philae, which is so beautiful. It's such a powerful feminine energy there of the mother, of the caring mother. The golden wings of Isis, like she's just there behind me. And may her offer her blessings to all of us. So it's going to be a really incredible journey around the time of the full moon in February. That's when the journey will take place, from the 9th of February to the 18th. At the full moon, we'll be in Aswan and we'll be on the boat watching the full moon and having a celebration together before the temple of Isis. So it's going to be really magical. We'll also be going to visit the unfinished obelisk in Aswan, in south of Egypt, which is an incredible monolith that must weigh like at least 1,200 tons. It's huge. And it was never finished. So it's lying on the ground at the quarry in Aswan, where all the pink granite comes from, that's used in many temples and also in the pyramids and in Egypt. So we're going to see the unfinished obelisk, which is also one of those mysterious anomalies. So it's this massive, gigantic monolith, and it's carved above, like also with perfect angles. And then the bottom, for some reason, was left unfinished, and it's still attached to the ground. Um, yeah, and maybe they found a little crack on the bedrock and they just left it there. But so much work had already been put into it. And then how they raise a 1,200 monolith from the ground, erect it, and transport it elsewhere. I mean, this is just completely mind blowing. Science has absolutely no explanation for these incredible works of art. And being there and see it is just opens up our consciousness into real new possibilities. And it's this theme of ancient futures coming together, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail. And it was the name I gave to this revelatory journey, Ancient Futures, Dawning of a New Time, because it is what is going to happen in 2025. It's really a new time coming in. And if we connect with mind and heart, which also the alpha and the omega, the the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, the masculine and the feminine in balance, we reach coherence. And the more of us that reach coherence, the more the veil is lifted, the more we connect with our own divinity and with our own multidimensionality. So I feel really blessed to be able to take the group there, and it's really going to be a wonderful adventure. And we still have places available, and there's a 12% discount available until the solstice, until the 21st of December, which anyone can find on my website, which is below, peacecodis.com. So if you ever felt the call to the ancient land of Egypt, the land of alchemy, the ancient land of Chem, just check it out and come with us. It will be really a wonderful opportunity for revelation to happen.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Christina. I remember seeing you after you came back from Egypt. We were together in Scotland, and I could feel that you had been somewhere really important. And that word, revelation, that keeps coming up again and again. It feels like this is really for anybody who is, well, it's for anybody really, but whoever really is feeling like any kind of doubt or any kind, maybe a little stuck or needs inspiration, needs some kind of lift and light in their life. This is like the trip to take now at this time, as you spoke to the Kali Yuga, um, which is apparently in March. So if we go to Egypt February, it feels like the perfect time to do that right before these really big shifts are happening. Wow, exciting.
Yeah, and in this research on the megalithic culture that I've been taking for many, many years, since college actually, and also through studying deeply what's there in Egypt, there are a lot of connections with the megalithic culture we find along the Mediterranean, here in Portugal and Spain, and also Brittany, and then the
Mm,
British Islands, and even Scandinavia, that the megalithic monuments have this connection with ancient Egypt. I'm also offering Venus Rising, a Sacred Portugal Journey, the last week of March. Also, the event is almost full. It's not even been listed, and we're already at half capacity because it will be a small group. And yes, it's so incredible to go back to the roots, to see this connection, this legacy in Egypt, and see how some of the structures were replicated somehow in the megalithic monuments we still find here in the Iberian Peninsula, and of course in other places of the world. So yes, you're all invited to join. It will be a great pleasure. Get in touch if you feel interested. I'm going to leave all the links below in the description box. And hopefully, we'll be able to see you all there and have this incredible revelatory journey together.
yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you again, Christina. This has been fun to talk again, and I look forward to more.
Thank you so much, Susan. I really love these times that we get together and talk what's going on in the world in terms of astrology and cosmology. You also a beautiful astrologer that you are. It's such a pleasure to share this space with you. And sending many solstice blessings to you and everyone listening to this call. And let's strive to be the best versions of ourselves, all of us.
Yeah. Thank you. Solstice blessings. Yeah, indeed, to everybody. Okay, see you again. Bye bye.